If we ran Nintendo.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 146 of If We Ran Nintendo. I am Bobby, the Nintendo Guru, joined by the greatest co-host in all the land, Mr. Sean Capri.
Mr. Bobby, how are you this evening, my friend?
I'm very well, man. I'm very well. How are you?
Dude, I've been eating a lot of McDonald's and bad food lately. Can I be honest with you? Like, my pants are really not fitting so good, like in the hips region.
Pull it together,
like from
Capri.
here up, I'm okay. Like I'm YouTube handsome, but like below, man. I was grabbing something from a cupboard in my suit today, and I'm like, oh my god, these pants could just be in 5 pieces. It could be like the Hulk just ripping into the purple shorts.
Welcome to my world, Sean.
Oh,
welcome to my world.
Dude, I gotta get this under control. I guess I can stop thinking about eating though, man. It's it's awful.
I've been eating salads every single night for dinner.
You. Have you really?
And, yeah. Every
Wawa
day.
Salads?
Yep. Go to Wawa.
Nice.
They have these own like build your own salads. So I go in there and I pick what I want, and so it's chicken and vegetables, and it's really good, man. Vinaigrette dressing, and it's about 900 calories for it. And then I have these special K bars that I eat for breakfast and lunch, and then I have like a little snack in between.
They fit in your purse too. Those special K bars, they fit in your lady purse, right? I'm just kidding. I'm really proud of you, man. That's really good. I shouldn't be making fun.
But I have what's it called? Josh Stapleton messages me every single day.
Josh, please message me.
And we're like, we go back and forth with like ideas and tips, and we help each other. And it was like about 3 weeks ago now. We both came to this realization where it was like, okay, we need to wake up. Like, we were just like good 1 week, train wreck the next. Good one day, train wreck for 4.
Yeah.
Then we go back and have one good day, and I got mad at myself. I'm like, I'm done.
I need a sign, like accident signs at work, like it's been so many days or so many hours since the last accident or whatever. Like every time I have some bad food or something, I need to like, okay, reset. That feels like crap. I need that negative reinforcement.
Listen, you got to understand, people give you money because you're a cute young man. The minute you start tacking it on, they're gonna be like, "I'm not giving him that money." That's true.
So
you better pull it together, man.
I better pull it together. Well, the other thing too, though, is on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Sean Capri, I promise titties for those biddies. So every time somebody throws bits at me, I cut my boobs and I shake it.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
5 bits at a time, my friend.
Oh boy. Oh god. What a mess.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, no, man, it's been good, man. It's been a good week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that.
Popping on YouTube, dude.
Can I? What's that?
You're popping on YouTube, dude.
YouTube's doing very well, man.
2100.
I am 2100. I'm at right now, and dude. I couldn't be happier with the new people that are coming and talking and interacting, and not only that, it's translating to them showing up at streams. We've been playing together, a lot of stuff. Really exciting.
Can I actually? I regret mentioning it. I know you're going to jump to somewhere else. I regret mentioning it because I watched a video today from our good friend Patrick Nintendo Talk, saying that he's back. Okay.
Yes.
I was very confused when I watched this video. If Patrick, hang on a second. I gotta switch the camera to me. Hey Patrick, it's me, Sean Capri. It's good to see you, man. I was very confused when I saw this video because he says he tweets it out. Here's a video. Here's an update. # I'm back. I wanted to jump in there and say, don't call the comeback, number 1. Number 2, he launches into this video, Patrick, I'm talking to you, Patrick, Nintendo Talk, and you say, I just want to give you guys an update or like where I've been. I took a week off because I took the flu. I had a flu, and then I took an extra week off, and I just really wanted to. This guy's talking about coming back after 2 weeks of, and I only posted like 1 or 2 videos. They're like, get a hold of yourself, Patrick. I'm glad you're feeling better, first of all. Like, don't misunderstand. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're feeling yourself. But maybe save those, like, comeback videos, those update videos for, like when you get divorced or something.
This is true.
Do you feel the same way? I mean, at least he didn't do it direct.
Okay. First off, you got to stop this attack on other podcasts. You have been on a tangent where you're
bringing them in.
You're just attacking people.
Who's with me? Secret Friends Unite. They're with me.
You're absolutely right. Like, I watched the video today and I'm saying, dude, you've been going. Where you been?
That's what I was
thinking. You haven't even disappeared.
I was so confused. I'm like, how have I not been paying attention to know that he's been gone for so long? And then he's like, yeah, I've been gone for like 2 weeks. And like, yeah, there's stuff been going up on my channel, but like, I'm sort of in it, but I'm sort of not. Patrick.
I want to say this too. Lose a house, lose a wife, lose a dog. Then
the dog is the truly tragic part of it. Your house is beautiful. You look handsome as ever. Yeah, I love your house. You have lovely carpet that nobody gets to see, but you've got incredible background. You get all your toys. You got a great house, man. I love your house.
Life is fantastic.
Yeah.
Seriously, life is really fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's crazy to think that I am 2 days from absolute happiness, from absolute bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really awesome. Dude.
That's when this episode goes live. That's what you're talking about.
No, there's other stuff. I don't want to really say anything. But it's just, it feels so good to finally be in a position where like I'm actually happy. Nice. Like I'm literally like happy with my job, happy with the YouTube stuff, happy with the podcast. I'm happy with everything. So it just makes
I'm happy with you, Bobby.
Hey, I'm happy with you too.
Oh, I treasure your friendship.
Oh, don't do that, dude. Don't do that. We're not that type of friends. You just
could have fooled me. You're just embarrassed because you're in front of people now.
This is true. Because
we're on the internet. That's okay.
This is true. So let's kick this episode off like you do each and every episode. Our shout outs.
Geek outs. Oh my god, geek outs. I've been waiting to tell you about this. Okay, so one of the reasons that I've been eating so much is because we had a lunch and learn at work, and I get to work with some pretty cool people every now and then. I get like really smart people coming in, and we, in case people didn't know, Edmonton specifically, Alberta in general, but Edmonton where I live specifically is top 3 in the world for artificial intelligence and machine learning. We have some of the best people on the planet working on that stuff here. And I'm geeking out because these people came in and they showed us some of the stuff that they're working on. You got your Boston Robotics or whatever. They got doing like ninja flips with robots. You know what we got here? We got people who they got their arms cut off and then they Dr. Octopus attach a new arm to them and they got machine learning telling that arm how to like grab balls and stuff so that it's the person's mind working with the robot to like grab stuff. And it is crazy to see in real life. Do you know what I'm saying to you? Does that even compute?
Well, so that what you're telling me, they can get back into fapping and stuff.
That's right. Yeah, so they can get like robotic speed fapping. Yeah,
oh
that's
my
exactly.
God, could you imagine?
No,
be like in 2 seconds.
Your forearms never get tired or nothing.
Oh, it's amazing. it's like amazing,
Bobby, and it feels like somebody else is doing it.
Exactly. Best of both worlds. What is happening right now?
You took it there, man. You took it there.
Well, where else am I going to take it?
You're like, cut my arm off now, man. I want one of these things.
Yeah, I'm like, I want one of these things. Take it. I was like,
crazy stuff, man. You should have seen me. Like, as soon as they're like, this person's mind is connected to the arm, and that's how it's.
I'm like, crazy,
I literally was. I was like, I was just playing Spider-Man. Like, that's Dr. Octopus stuff. They figured it out, man.
Dude, you're just such an idiot. That's really what you thought of. That's really what you said.
I'm not even joking.
I was just playing Spider-Man. I looked at you like,
I didn't say it. Idiot? I thought it in my mind. I said it.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, let's get in the shout outs. Okay, this is crazy.
I actually have a good one.
I want to give a shout out to the New York Yankees. Opening day today in baseball, and like true fashion, they come out and they just crush it. Meanwhile, the Boston Red Sox lost today. I am so happy. This is the greatest day ever.
Man, the whole that just changes the whole direction and the whole tenor of the entire season. That one game, like 160th of the game of the season.
Just stop. It starts to set the tone.
Oh my God!
It starts to set.
What a stupid. 160 games.
Or 62.
That's ridiculous.
It's a lot of games.
I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. It doesn't respect my time.
The funny thing is I really what the shout out should probably go to the people that were in the fantasy baseball league. So Patrick from Nintendo Talk started a fantasy baseball league. Him, his dad, and then he threw it out there. So Ribo's in it, and Dude's in it, and Jams is in it, and Matt Knight
everyone
is in
but
it.
me. Very cool.
Yeah, pretty much. So
awesome. Glad you guys are
having fun. We did the draft last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I actually streamed the draft while I was
playing
awesome RBI baseball. And
amazing.
So it was pretty cool.
Nice,
but
man.
I'm sitting there today and I'm like, I got the itch now to buy the season pass of MLB again, which is like $120.
Is it really?
And, yeah, but you get every game, except All-Star and postseason, which is kind of like, But this year they actually allow you, if you have cable, you can actually stream the game still. So I'm like, my mom has cable. Let's get her information, put it in, and start streaming, and I'm good to go.
Yep.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Nice.
I'm going to get my mom's information, put it in. Then when the All-Star game hits, I'll be able to watch the All-Star game. But tonight I watch games all day. I had it on at work. It's so fun, dude.
Yeah, man.
Just to have the game played in the background.
It's so good. You can't get enough of it. The pitcher, he's got the ball. He stands on that big thing, and he throws it.
On the mound. Pitcher's mound.
Yeah, and then he throws it across the plate, and the guy misses. Or maybe he makes contact and really slams into the ground.
Marissa Roberto knows about baseball, and that's all that matters.
I know. That's okay.
What shout out do you?
I got Johnny Casino on my mind, man. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a story. Let me take you down a walk, Bobby. Okay. Brock McLaughlin tweeted something out. He got a nice little package from Xbox Canada. He got one of those white Elite controllers. It's gorgeous. And I'm like, oh, it sounds like maybe Xbox Canada is sending out some mail. Maybe a couple people got one. Maybe I got one of these things. So I run out, check my front porch because, maybe they dropped something off. Nothing there. I'm like, Chelsea, I need to go check the mail. Our mailbox is one of those big super box things. You got the key and you share it with everybody else on the block. So I run around the corner. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't get my hopes up. Like, Brock's really special. There's a reason that they sent him one of these controllers. There's no way that they sent me one. But, like, what if? You know what I mean? Like, what if? So I go to the thing, and I stick the key in. I'm like, okay, so I get just a little tiny box. But if you have, like, a parcel, you get, like, a little red key.
Yeah.
Okay, and the key kind of opens up where the parcels go and the bigger compartments at the bottom. So I open up, I'm like, oh man, but just imagine, like, there's probably just letters in here, but imagine if there's like a red key. That means that I got the white controller. Yeah, so I get in there, I open slowly, it's creaking, open, red key.
No.
Ooh,
no.
Boy, there's a couple Canadian Tire flyers in there and a whole bunch of other goodies, but there's that red key. I'm like, oh baby, let's go. And it's for the big, there's a smaller one and there's a big box. It's for the big one, Bobby. So I slide that red key in there. I open up, there's 2 packages in there. Oh, get out. Man, get out. Definitely one of those is for me. Wait a minute. One of these is kind of softer. It's kind of plushy. There's no controller in there. It's got all these Chinese characters all over it. That's not for me. That's for Chelsea. Okay, this next one. This looks like a box. This is a box. It looks like a controller could fit in it. Nope. It's from Texas. This box is from Texas, and it's addressed to Chelsea. Neither one of these things is for me. I did not get one of those great white controllers. But inside of that box was a very heartfelt and lovely and sweet present from Johnny Casino to my wife and to the kids. It was filled. He recently, in case you didn't know, he recently moved from the Houston area to Seattle. He traveled across the country there and back.
Yeah, I knew he was going to, yeah.
So he's gone. But before he left, he stopped by the space station that they have there in Houston, and he bought a bunch of NASA stuff, and he shipped it on up for the kids. They got a bunch of NASA T-shirts and stuffy animals and stuff. Very thoughtful.
Very nice.
Not as thoughtful as a Xbox controller would have been from Xbox Canada, but... Also, shout out to Xbox Canada. Luke and I are going to be streaming on Mixer.com/Xbox Canada on Wednesday, April 3rd at 7 p.m.
Again?
Again, they're letting us back, man. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Get me in on some of that.
Mixer.com.
Play Division with us. Needs to be on Xbox.
Play Division with us. We're playing Division on Xbox. 2 open spots. Tell your friends.
I will literally just go do that. Seriously.
Right. That'd be fun.
I got one more shout out that I want to give to my best friend in all the land,
Me?
Mr. Toby Thornton. And the reason why is because I realized this week, every now and again, I get to go back and listen to the podcast that Toby and I do. And I realized that, like, he makes me laugh out loud. And I realized that he's the one person that actually knows how to get under my skin and, like, just tweak me just enough that I know that he's just doing it to mess with me. But, man, I listened back to Nintendo PlayStation, and I'm like, these episodes, man, these are so much fun.
They're so good, dude.
Like, I wouldn't even care what we call the podcast and what we talk about.
Yeah.
Like, it's like just hanging out with him for an hour. And I actually get to do it for 2 hours every other week. But it's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a blast.
Part of it is that accent that just gets on. Like, he's got a bit of an edge. Like, a natural edge. A little bit. Yeah. You can get under your skin with that accent.
Oh, he just makes me laugh. And and he says stuff sometimes that it zooms by and I don't pick up onto it till I listen back. Quick. Like the homemade protein bars. Did you hear about that one? You heard that, didn't you? He was talking. He goes, "What are you eating there, Bobby?" And I was like, "I had a protein bar." He's like, "Is it homemade?"
Yeah.
Meaning, I'm like,
"Gotcha."
Such a
Bobby's DNA bar.
I hear it back and I'm like, "That son of a." He got me.
Snuck
like,
it in there.
Mm-hmm. So no, I just want to give a shout out to Toby because I love him. So yeah, you know what? One other thing.
Oh,
PSVG.
Oh yeah,
dude, these guys are on it. You see?
I know. Stadia
podcast out now.
Yeah, man. Google Stadia.
They jumped right on that one, man.
Smart.
Dude, I mean, listen, it's like the Uyo podcast,
I was just
but whatever.
Gonna say that, dude. Oh my god, you guys.
You guys do you. You know what I mean? Like that.
Oh my gosh. You know what?
They were all over that one.
If we ran the Panasonic 3DO, that would be a good podcast.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great podcast. So before we can jump into our topic, I don't know if you saw this today, Sean. I actually just did a video about it a little bit earlier.
The Switch for Twitch.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
You see that?
That's crazy.
So if you have Twitch Prime, right now if you're listening to this, if you have Twitch Prime, I did it already. If you link your account, you can then get 3 months of Nintendo Switch Online for free.
Mm-hmm.
If you have, and it's only for now. If you have a single person account, they'll tack it on to what you already have.
What
so like I have, that means like, so I already own a year. I already bought a year subscription, right? So now I have a year and 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2 months, I go back in and I tack it again, and it'll add the next 9 months to it. So if you have the family plan, you can't add on.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you can't add on.
That is what I have. I have the family plan.
Yeah, you can't add on to the family plan. You can only do it. So, but man, I'm just like, this is just another great thing that Twitch is giving people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Amazon. But it makes me wonder this relationship between Nintendo.
That's what I was just thinking.
And Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And man, could this be like, hey, this is our combat to Google, which is very possible. It's very possible that this could be the way we see Microsoft and Sony and Nintendo go, start leaning towards Amazon and leaning towards Twitch to be like, okay, this is where we want our people to stream through you guys. The other thing I want to talk about real quick before we jump into our topic is, the news that's hitting right now, the rumors. So it's, the reason why I want to talk about it is because I want to get your opinion on, how we would have handled this if we ran Nintendo. And the rumor right now is they're not doing one SKU. They're actually doing 2 SKUs for a new Switch. They're saying that it'll hit by summertime, and it's a Switch Pro, which is a upgrade from what we currently have, and the Switch Mini. So if you remember back, the initial rumors and leaks were a Switch Pro. Then real quickly after, like maybe 4 months later, it shifted and it became a Switch Mini.
Yeah.
And now it's shifted once again, and they're saying both. Now, my first reaction was like, oh my God, these guys just can't get their stories together. But what I'm hearing now is that not only did the Wall Street Journal report this, but Eurogamer has confirmed that they're hearing the same exact stuff that Wall Street Journal's hearing. And they both have separate sources. So it's kind of interesting to see that, like, this is what it's becoming and what it's evolving. What do you think about?
I think it's the same uncle working at Nintendo for all the sources. I think
it's possible.
Kind of what
it's possible.
Here's the thing. If we want to turn this into if we ran Nintendo, I wouldn't do this at all. I wouldn't do all of this. I would, and I hope that the rumors turn out that this is a phased approach. I think Nintendo is gearing up so there are multiple options, that you have multiple things to buy when Pokemon lands. I think that's probably the reason that this is gearing up this way. But if we go from 1 to 3 SKUs on Nintendo Switch land, that is, in my opinion, it's a recipe for disaster.
I don't think they're going 1 to 3. I think they're going
one
1 to
replaces
2.
one just.
The Pro will replace the
Interesting.
the one it is, because here's the thing: people are like, "Well, that's too expensive." No, it's not. Nintendo doesn't want to do the Apple thing where they take the old model and lower the price.
Yep.
Nintendo wants to go, here's your entry level Switch,
it's possible,
which is more kid proof, kid friendly, kind of like the 2DS, because that's what they're approaching it to. That's the way they're gearing this up, and they're going, one is a kid friendly version, and then the other one is your basically a replacement for the current Switch, just more powerful and having a few things. And what they're equating it to is the 3DS family. What do you think about it when we got the new 3DS, right? And it had some upgrades to it and some new bells and whistles to it. And then they turn around and go, oh, by the way, here's the 2DS. And it was a lower price point, you know, and more for kids. I think this is, honestly, my opinion, I think it's an ingenious way to do this.
Of course it is. Because guess what I'm doing day one? I'm trading my 3DS I have right now in for the next one. I'll tell you what, man. I did it for the Xbox, and I don't regret it.
You need Switch. You said 3DS.
That too. I'll get the new 3DS.
I did
it for the new 3DS. I did it for the Xbox, and I will do it for the Switch. Absolutely. Because I feel like the one thing that GameStop is still, or EB Games for us, is like still managing to do is giving us good incentives to trade up like that. And I don't even think that they're really incentivized by Nintendo to do that, or at least if we ran Nintendo, I think I would, because it helps to just jump those numbers. Like when somebody trades in a system, it's not a minus. It's not like that system all of a sudden didn't get sold. It's only used to help that person buy that next unit, which makes those numbers bump up from whatever they're saying like are out in the wild. So yes, if we ran Nintendo, this is not the topic that you asked for, but
no.
Subsidize the crap out of that. Try and get as many people, or make it as worthwhile as possible for people to trade in their old things to get the new thing, and then you have more developers developing for that new thing. You get to brag about how many trillions of units you have out there. I'm all over it, dude.
I think that it's, I mean, personally, I just think it's ingenious. I think that if what they do,
it's Apple invented this 10 years ago.
Well, the thing is I was reading some comments on the video when I posted it the other day, and people were like, well, this makes no sense. So it's like, I don't want to pay more. And I'm like, who says you're going to pay more money?
Yeah.
They're going to upgrade it. They're going to keep the $300 price tag. I think they're going to stay right at that $300 price tag. To
be honest with you, that's the one thing, this rumor of this Pro thing is keeping me from, a little while ago I talked about I want a Bluetooth headset. I think Bluetooth is built into this thing. Like, I feel like that's a guarantee.
I've heard that is a rumor. I'm here. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a few things. I'm hearing one, the lesser model is a lot like a Vita, where the Joy-Cons are attached to it.
I want that.
It looks just like, I love that.
Kind of want that too.
I would buy that too, honestly.
You know what too? That thing is going to be it's just like the new 3DS, the regular size one where it was customizable faceplates. I feel like that's the one that they're going to be able to have a little bit more fun with.
And then imagine?
Seriously, and that will be that's why people will be incentivized to buy the Pro or the more powerful one because it's more powerful. They'll be incentivized to buy the smaller one because it's like fun and there's great designs and
it's
there's
more
customizability.
It's way more portable.
That's a good point too, that people may be tapping in on that a little bit more than I'm thinking of right now.
Yeah, because if it's just as powerful in terms of like it can play the same games, right? So if it can play all the same games, and by the way, it's a lot more portable because you think about it, a Vita you can toss right in your back pocket.
You really can.
You don't have a problem with it. So you can't with it. I mean, you can put a Switch in your back pocket, but it's not comfortable, and it's not something I would do. I would never try to do that. So this is a way to get them more mobile. I think it helps drastically in Japan, and it's just huge. They are saying that it will not hook to the TV. It's basically just a standalone unit, which makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If you're mom and pop, right, and you already have a family Switch. Okay, let's look at Chris White, right? Chris White has
Chris White right now, does he have Switches? Or does he sell? Did he sell all the Switches?
He does. Don't listen to him.
I can't remember where he's at.
He's so fake. It's not even funny.
Snap.
No, but I mean, he has a few kids.
He's
right?
40 kids, right?
So the thing is when when the Switch first came out, he bought full price, bought them all one.
That's crazy.
I think now the way it would be is I think Chris would jump at the opportunity to go, you know what? Let me get the kids these models just because it's safer and I don't have to worry about them breaking them and such. And that's what they're basically doing. They're basically making. And I've also heard a rumor, and I don't know whether this is true or not, but they're talking about this. I've heard two rumors for the Mini. One is it's a clamshell similar to the 3DS.
Yeah.
And then the other one I heard is it's like the Vita. So I'm kind of curious to see what we actually get.
That's kind of what I want. Is some sort of self-closing thing, some sort of self-protecting design, which I think would be so smart. You could definitely, you could have a lot of fun with that too, man. The thing that Nintendo has locked down that nobody else has, and they will never get it, is the ability to sell multiple consoles within the same household. Like, my house is very strange. It's very weird to have two PlayStations or two Xboxes in the same house. It's not very strange to have two Switches in the same house or more. And I think that's so awesome. Like, as a business, like, that is so crazy to have a console. You now don't have the 3DS to worry about, but you're selling like multiple consoles in the same house, and Pokemon's going to drive that even more than last summer. That's the thing, and that's why I think they're gearing up for this, is having the perfect
Animal
option.
Crossing.
Animal Crossing too.
Crossing.
Good point.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
both of those
they're
two
social.
are juggernauts. Yeah.
Animal Crossing is more social than I have to think about how social that is. Mostly because I just didn't really like my personal playthrough with Animal Crossing wasn't like jumping into anybody else's farms and stuff. Like, sometimes Chelsea and I did it, but we weren't. I don't know. I just liked it. Like, that's the thing. I got enjoyment from not getting into really deep into that game. But for the people who did, it was there. So,
well, I just think that with both games, I just think that if you give someone the ability, I think back to when I was married, and when Animal Crossing was coming to the 3DS, and dude, we both went out and bought them. They were high end priced at the time, and it was like, oh my god, this is great. We both have to have one. This is so crazy in price. So now, if you're able to go like, hey, here's even if it's $200. Here's a $200 item. We get two of them. That's $100 more than one Switch.
Yeah, no.
We're good to go. You get two of them. You get the games. Now we can kind of do stuff. I know from, like, I'm in a few message boards and communities for Animal Crossing on the internet, and there's still a lot of Animal Crossing fans that did not buy a Switch yet because they're waiting. They're waiting for two things.
Why would you wait just for that game though? Like, why don't you get it?
They're not. They're waiting for a special edition Switch. They're like, if I'm going to buy a Switch, and I'm going to buy it for Animal Crossing, then I'm going to get the special edition Switch.
I can see
and
it.
I'm ready for it.
Looking at my Spider-Man PlayStation 4 right there.
Well, and think of it. You have multiple. You have the Animal Crossing 3DS.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, so.
I get it.
For people like you and I, like, this is a total thing, you know?
Yeah, I totally get it.
But it makes me wonder, like, if they do special editions, which route does Nintendo go with special editions? Do they do a special edition for the big Switch or for the Mini?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. It's kind of interesting to see.
I mean, it's backwards with what you would think. Like, you would almost think just do it for both because then everybody's happy. But like, that's not how Nintendo operates.
But you're not going to make everybody happy anyway because they're not going to look the same. And then you're going to have me going, I got to get them both.
Yeah.
Although for Nintendo, it's a win because they're like, there's Idiot Bobby buying two consoles.
It's going to be a great year. 2019 is already just crazy, dude.
It has been a fantastic year. So
can I tell you something? I'm playing Golf Story on my Switch.
Are you really?
I am, and I am loving it, dude.
It's a good game, dude.
I think it is
really
so great. I'm having a little bit of trouble. I don't know if anybody else has experienced this because of the perspective of it, like the top down, but sort of from the side, and the way that you kind of depending if you're shooting straight up, it's pretty simple. But if you're kind of at an angle, it's hard for me to understand. Like, when the ball hits the ground, like, what direction is it going in? I don't know why. It, like, kind of trips me out. Like, sometimes it surprises me. It just goes, like, it looks like it's kind of traveling to the side and it hits the ground and then starts going straight up. Very strange. But it seems like there's a sinister plot to this game, man. It seems like you're just having fun playing golf, and there's There's this corrupt like ownership over the course.
I gotta go back and like restart it and start playing again. I got pretty far in and I stopped. I don't know why I stopped, but I like that game. That game was
very
a lot of
good,
fun,
very good.
Really
Yeah,
good.
I'm liking it.
Okay, so the next topic, legitimate topic this time, is if we were at Nintendo, what would we do? Since it seems like everybody is copying us.
Oh,
with
snap.
The Nintendo Direct and the Nindies, what does Nintendo do to advance the ball a little bit and to go like, hey, you guys are there, now we're taking it a step further?
Yeah, we've been doing that for 6 years.
Well, the thing is, too, is I remember when Nintendo first started doing it, and the media and everybody mocked Nintendo for it.
Sure did.
The dumbest thing in the world, and now everybody's doing it. And it's
you're only the real deal if you're doing live shows at E3.
Yeah, that's the way it was.
What a joke these guys are, second-rate platform.
Yeah, and now look at it. Sony has stepped away from E3, and now they're doing these events. And I think thinking back, the minute that Sony walked away from E3, that is exactly what everybody started saying. Like, well, they're going to do directs.
Yeah,
and I didn't think that they would have the guts to just actually just
completely rip it off.
But I will say this: I will give them. I haven't talked about it too much in overall. I mean, I'll give them an A for effort, but as far as the delivery and the content, it's definitely bad in my eyes. I feel like if you're a VR person, you're happy as hell. If you're not a VR person, and I feel like that's where they made the mistake. They made the mistake of they should have set the expectations. That's the one thing that Nintendo has learned and has done pretty well, where they go like, "Hey, this is what to expect in this." Sony didn't tell anybody what to expect.
Well, I want to hang on this. This is definitely something that hits me, and I was listening to the sister podcast to the Xbox Drive. Of course, it's the Trophy Room, the PlayStation podcast, made by the players for the players, with our good friend Mr. Badbit, Joseph Moran. Love that show. Love those guys. They were talking about this deal about expectations, and how in Sony land, Sony fans will be only satisfied if you tell them beforehand exactly what you're gonna get. You're not gonna get Last of Us. You are gonna get Days Gone. You're not gonna get Uncharted 5, and then for some reason that equals satisfaction in Sony land. I don't think that equals satisfaction at all, and I actually think, to your point of Nintendo does a better job of setting expectations, they do it in a clever way. And this is the art that Xbox and PlayStation are gonna have to figure out, and it's gonna take them a long time to do it. And I can't wait to watch them struggle. As a Nintendo fan, I get to sit back and go look at these idiots stumbling out of the gates. Nintendo has a wide variety of these types of things now. You've got Nindies, you've got mini directs, you've got your full-on directs, you've got your E3 directs. They have a variety of different types of videos that the title in and of itself sets the expectation without giving away the games that they're going to be talking about. Sometimes it'll be like, well, we're going to talk about Pokemon, maybe, like, and that's kind of it.
But I mean, they tell us. I mean, ultimately, they'll say to us, like, when they talked about Smash, this is going to be a Smash Direct,
right?
Or the last Direct they did, they said we're going to talk about some Fire Emblem. It's going to be about 35 minutes. We're going to have some surprises, and then that's it. And they just, the main game.
That's another one. I don't even know what you call those. There's like the deep dives on the games. That's when you go, we're talking about this game only, and that's it. That makes sense to me. But if a thing is supposed to like elicit a response, like excitement and hype, the last thing I want is for it to go, we're going to talk about these 17 games or these 5 games. I just feel like Nintendo has done a really nice job of setting those expectations without always telling us exactly what's on the menu. You come in, it's going to be a good meal. Yeah.
So I feel like Sony didn't do the best of jobs. But it is their first time out the gates.
I think the name sucks. I don't know if I've been clear on that. The name is brutal. I
don't know what I would call it, but I wouldn't call it State of Play. I just feel like that's just really
It just sounds
bad.
like State of the Union is what I think of.
Yeah.
Like it sounds too like, I don't know, American.
Too political type thing. Yeah. The thing, but here's the other thing too is, Xbox comes out with an Indies
Even
version,
worse name.
which is like the Nindies thing that they did, and it's what is it? The new ID
ID at Xbox Game Pass. It is, and Luke, I was shocked on the Xbox Drive. Luke just went off. This is the worst name ever. It's confusing. I can't disagree with him, man.
No. And let me tell you what, it sucked. I'll say, like, dude, it was trash. I watched this thing, and I was about 5 minutes in, and it's about 13 minutes long, and I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Dude, you've got Damon Baker there.
I was waiting for him to show up. I was waiting for him to show up.
Yeah, but why in the world would you not go to Damon Baker and go, teach us? Show us what you do. It reminds me of this, okay, wrestling reference. It reminds me of when I used to, back when the WCW was overtaking WWE in the ratings wars and all that stuff, guys, WCW was hiring guys for huge dollar amounts. And they would show up there, and they'd be like, okay, let's go. And they would go, and they go into the locker room, and nothing was scripted. Nothing was ready. They didn't know what was going on. And it was like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, you hired all of Vince McMahon's top talent, and you're basically using a whiteboard, and you're writing matches as you go through the night? Like, you're flying by the seat, you don't have no... And it's almost the same thing. Like, you hire Damon Baker. Why in the world would you not sit him down? Because you've had him for months now. Why would you not sit him down and go, okay, Damon, kind of format this for us. Kind of walk us through what beats we should have.
He's a busy guy, man. It's not his job. He's got a different... He's hired out to do a different gig.
Sean, stop. It takes 10 minutes to sit down with the guy and go, walk... It takes... Let's
how much work they got to do over at Xbox, man.
Takes 2 hours. You sit down with the guy. You go, what works, what doesn't work. Help us get this thing, because this is going to be the catalyst to pushing.
Oh my god! We got to do it. We got to do it if we ran Xbox thing.
Oh my
how do you
god!
make that? How do you fix that, man?
That's real simple. Fire the idiots that ran it, and put some people in there to know what they're doing.
So as an Xbox fan, I wasn't quite as down on it. Okay, I wasn't quite as down on it. I think I like
it was trash.
Well, that's fair. But the other thing too is that you have to remember is you're not watching those Inside Xboxes, in which this is way better than Inside Xbox.
You thought that was better than Inside Xbox?
Most of them, yeah. Especially as the first go around, I think so.
Woo, man, bro, you guys you need help then. Because the last Inside Xbox I watched.
Let's loop this back to Nintendo a little bit, okay? The point of this is Nintendo is so far ahead it's not even funny.
Yeah.
PlayStation, Xbox, understandably stumbling out of the gates, and we could go on and on about all the things that we think are wrong with that. So when I kind of wanted to talk to you about this topic, in that maybe one of the options is that we don't do anything. Maybe we don't have to innovate at all. We just let everybody else struggle. That's maybe a short-term strategy. But I don't necessarily know that there's anything like in the short term where we've got to go like, oh my God, we've got to change everything because these guys are copying us now. But I feel like Nintendo is that far ahead that maybe there's some experimentation that can happen, or some refinements that can maybe happen. And one of those things that came to my mind was further clarity and further diversification of the types of videos that they make. Because I love the Nindies, I love the deep dives on the games. I want more of that, and I think that as time has gone on, they've edged closer and closer to clarity, but there really isn't, like, I still hear people a little bit confused on like what's a mini direct and what's a direct and what's like kind of like, so if there's anything that they could refine, I think that might be one of those things. And I want to ask you about the frequency. How do you feel about the frequency of the videos that we're getting from Nintendo at this stage, knowing that there's going to be a lot of news, a lot of other platforms vying for people's attention? Last thing I'll say too is Stadia happened, and then all these other things happened. Stadia, and then Nindies, and then Xbox and PlayStation all happened afterwards. So it is competitive as a mofo out there.
Yeah. The thing I'll say is, I think the frequency of what Nintendo does, I would like it a little bit better if they got in the rhythm of, and I think now they really don't want to get into the rhythm of telling you when they're going to have the next one.
I agree.
Because of the fact of they could just come right up behind Sony and Xbox at any time and just go, here it is.
Yep.
But if they tell you, hey, it's coming out March 15th, well, then Sony could go, well, we're coming out March 14th. And Xbox could go, well, we're coming out March 16th. And then it turns into this thing of who speaks the loudest, and everybody's competing. And I don't think Nintendo wants to do that. I think Nintendo right now is so dominant with the social media aspect that even when Sony puts out a thing, Nintendo Direct is trending.
I know.
It's crazy. Even when Stadia comes out and has this big event, and then Nintendo just sideswipes that. And it's like they just have this ability that when they talk, people lose their minds. And I don't know that I've ever seen something like this, because this wasn't happening during the Wii U. Like, we would get Nintendo Directs all the time during the Wii U era, and this type of frenzy was not there.
Well, it was within it's always been within the Nintendo fan base. And now the Nintendo fan base, well, it's because the Nintendo fan base is exponentially larger. Like, there's people who were lapsed Nintendo fans during the Wii U era. They're like, yeah, I liked Nintendo when I was growing up, but like the Wii U's kind of crappy and whatever. Now they're back. And they're all like, oh, I get it. Like, I was ignoring this because for whatever reasons, like we were all of the attitude that Nintendo Directs are lesser than, E3 conferences are more than, and Nintendo was participating in a particular way. So it was just like, it was quick math for people to just go like, meh, whatever.
I mean, I think Nintendo, let's be honest, Nintendo has always been on the forefront of different and innovative ways to get the news to their fan base.
Well, it's Iwata is really the thing.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm going to go further than Iwata. Like, you think about it. Like, it started with Nintendo Power. Yeah. Like, they were basically in your ear as a young kid. At least when we were kids. When I was a kid, you know, you had this Nintendo Power issue, which was pure propaganda, showing up every single month, and they're telling you all these, and they're making everything so great and so wonderful, and man, they just had this ability to make the mystique amazing. And then Iwata takes over as president. Nintendo Power kind of disappears a few years after he takes over, and then he starts these Iwata Asks. And that was the start of this. He started doing these Iwata Asks, which was something that nobody ever did before. And maybe that's something, honestly, that should happen. Maybe they start these Furukawa Asks, and it's a video presentation, and it's him sitting down with the developers having a conversation. Because that's what Iwata Asks was. Iwata would sit down with Aonuma and Miyamoto and all these different people that were making games just before games were getting ready to launch, and he would start talking about the development process. And there was something that Sony did, I would probably say 3 years ago now. It was a show that they were doing on Xbox or on the PlayStation that you downloaded. Will Wheaton was the host, and he would sit down with developers every month and talk about the process. And he sat down with Naughty Dog. He sat down with everybody that works for Sony and broke down games. I think that's a fantastic way to develop. But what I would do is I would steal from what NoClip is doing. And I would go, we have a new game getting ready to launch, and we're going to do a documentary.
Oh, snap.
And you do a 1 hour documentary on this game.
That's
where
a really
you
good idea.
Developers, and you start going through and you start working. You go, hey, this is the behind the scenes. This is how we got this to work. And here's some of the struggles. And this is all the different things we did. And you're basically pumping up this game and getting people. Because can I tell you, I had this much interest, 0 for those that are listening.
3.
Zero. I had 0 interest. Screw you, Sean. 0 interest in Doom.
Yeah.
And I watched the NoClip documentary on Doom, and that brought me in. And I went and bought that game in 2016. That became my game of the year in 2016.
I agree with you, man.
I think that's to me, I love documentaries. I think it's a great way to get a message out and to control the narrative. Control the story that you want to get out there for people.
And that's the thing. And that's one of the things that you and I talked about back when we were like, what should we do with Nintendo Power? Would we bring it back? That was a classic episode. One of the things we talked about, and I think Nintendo has stayed true to this the entire time, is making it feel like you are on the inside scoop. Like you're on the inside lane. You're getting inside baseball look at something like cheat codes or as you're getting to the development story. And I think that's the secret magic, because there's always been this mystery around Japan. Like, what is this game from Japan? Like, what is Japan doing? It manifests in a different way now, but the mystique is still there. So anytime you can kind of go like, what happens? Like, there's even those areas of Nintendo headquarters that like you're not allowed in, or you have to sign like these crazy NDAs, or like there's still even to this day a lot of mystique around it. So anytime you can give like this very calculated peek behind the curtains, I think that would be very cool, and maybe that's the next step.
And I would
from
take
a
it a step
first-party
further.
perspective.
I wouldn't just put the documentary up. I'd do a premiere. I would do I would hype it up days before, do a countdown, get people excited for it.
So are you saying like create the documentary as it's being developed, or do you do
as the game's being developed?
That's so, man. Okay, so this is risky. I just want to point it out.
It's definitely risky. But let's be honest. When you got a game like Zelda, when you get a game like Odyssey, like, here's the thing. They basically did a documentary for Zelda. They were putting up
good point.
They were putting up YouTube videos
I remember
of conversations with the developers, talking about Iwata and talking about all the different things that were happening. Why not turn it into a 1-hour movie, right? And then go, hey, next Thursday at 2:00, this is going to launch live on YouTube, and you have the chat pop up next to it, and people can talk. Man, it would be, you treat it just like a Nintendo Direct in terms of it's live, and people can go watch it live, and they could comment on it. It would be fantastic.
You know what you do? You serialize it too, because when we watch shows now, you get it on Netflix, the whole season launches, and you binge it for the whole season. How awesome would it be for Nintendo to go like, remember when Seinfeld came out and everybody was talking about the next day? Like, have those drops. You could shoot the entire series of a documentary and go like, for the next 6 weeks, you're getting a new episode. It's like a little mini series or something like that, and that's a way to dominate the conversation over a longer period of time as well.
You're absolutely right. But you think about it. You just think, I just think about it and go, one of the things that I love to hear, it's stories about the development process. I love to hear that Iwata did his presidential duties during the day, and then at night he worked on Smash to help fix the code. I love hearing stories about Sakurai doing all this crazy stuff in order to get a game out on time. Like, man, how impactful would it be to not hear Sakurai tell the story of the IV bag going into work, but actually seeing it?
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you doing here? And he tells the story right there. Like, that would be so much more impactful than us hearing about it later in an article that's translated from Japan. Like, to see the man actually walking around with this and going like, just saying like, I love the fan. I want to do this for the fans.
And
like,
you could pick one game a year that's going to get this treatment, because this is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
You pick one game a year, you maybe tie it in with E3, maybe lead it up to E3 or some other sort of like either the launch itself, or maybe post E3 to carry on. Like, you launched, like, this is the first time you're introducing a game, and then you're like, well, we're going to have behind the scenes in your face for the next, whatever, 6 or 7 weeks.
Honestly, and this is where I'll disagree with you. I would do it for every major launch, meaning I would do it for every Mario game, every Zelda game, every Smash game, every Mario Kart game.
I agree. I guess I'm saying the same thing. I'm just assuming those are going to be on different years. So every year you're going to have one of those. But maybe you have another 20.
You think about it, like 2017, you have Mario, and you had so many games that year. Like, how cool would it have been to have a Splatoon story?
Well, that's like, the thing. That's what got me jazzed about Splatoon for the very first time, and that's what I get. You get a little bit of these mini bites, like these little like behind the scenes, or where did the idea come from? With that Xbox one, I thought it was really cool. They're like, The game itself, the Outer Wilds, was like, that's kind of weird. But the guy's like, I'm really excited to share what a weird game we've come up with. And I was like, that's really an interesting way to put that. Like, now I actually want to see, like, he's like, we're not showing everything. There's some stuff in here that's really strange, and I can't wait to show you guys. And I'm like, I was saying to Luke too, that's not a box quote. That's not like a feature. That's not a bullet point or anything like that. It's like you only get that insight from that style of storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think they definitely want some of that stuff. So is that?
I think the only thing that the only thing I would say about that is you do that already with Inside Xbox, right? Or whatever they call that show, Inside Xbox Live. You already do that where you have the developer, you sit down with the developer,
it has to be natural. Like that's the
But
thing
I feel like it should have been. You have two shows. One show you can do the interview stuff. The other show should have been boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
Game. Here they are. Here's what we're doing. That to me would have been. I think that's where they lost me.
Well, and
when
here's
I started
the thing.
watching, you had a couple of games, then you went to this long 10-minute interview, and then it was like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah, it seems
get
like
me
they're
back
filling
to the
space.
games.
The thing is, and that speaks to my next point, is that ultimately these things are an extension of the games that will ultimately land on your system. So if the games that are coming to your system are great, then the videos and the announcements and the things around the promotions will be great as well. But if the games coming to your system are not that great, or they're subpar, and then the times that you put a big magnifying glass on the games that are coming and you're like, ooh, that's not really tickling my fancy, then that's gonna show, and it's gonna be really awkward. So for Nintendo to continue to innovate and continue to be better and forward from where Xbox and PlayStation are, focus on the games, man. If those games are great,
I think the final thing that I would say that these guys
don't go to the final. Then I want to ask you something.
But first of all, okay. I'm just saying, for me, my final thing that I would say that these companies need to learn from Nintendo is don't just talk to talk. You put stuff out when you have something to say. Sony put that out, and this is not the time for them to be talking because they have nothing to talk about. Their talk should be after they announce PS5. That's when you want to talk. I felt like this was,
but
just
they've already
them
won.
basically.
That's the thing. Like, now's the time for them
to
try these things out. Imagine if they went out for the very first time right after like PS5 launches, and they come out with some garbage like that. Not good.
I don't think they would have come out with some garbage like that, because I think after PS5 they're going to go, this is when Last of Us 2 is coming.
Yeah.
This is when Death Stranding is coming. And this is where these are some of the new games that are coming to PS5. And this is what, like, that would have been more impactful. I felt like this was a quasi tech demo. Let's just try it. Let's see if it works.
Definitely was. That's exactly what it was. And that's why I kind of give them a little bit of credit, that you have to do that. You have to just get the first bullet out of the chamber. I don't know. You got to give it like you're going to, because they're both teams are learning a lot. Unfortunately, they're both locked in with real names. My question for you, Bobby, is as a content creator, sometimes when you get stuck, or sometimes you feel like, man, I got to stay ahead of this next guy. I got to catch this Nintendo Talk guy who's got 30,000 subs or whatever. Like, what do you do? Like, where does your mind go when you're like, I gotta differentiate? Because like, you still continue to be that person where like, man, Bobby's doing this and I can't even catch him. Like, you're always doing something different. You're always doing something new. Like, how do you tackle that?
I'm always just thinking all the time, how can I divert? How can I change things? And I'm willing to try things. This is the thing. I'm willing to try stuff. And if it works, run with it. And if it doesn't work, shut it down. And you have to be willing to just stop if it doesn't work. And I would be as bold as to say that's almost something that I learned from Nintendo in terms of, like, if things aren't necessarily working, they're not afraid to admit it and shift. They will ride some stuff into the ground. Don't get me wrong. We've seen that in the past. But they're also willing to just pivot if they have to and make changes. Like with the Wii U. The Wii U wasn't working. They cut that life cycle off quick and they moved, you know? And
I think the Virtual Boy is the example of that. That was something that they tried and it didn't work. Cut it, pivot, go to the next thing. Or the high price on the 3DS didn't work. Cut it, pivot. So I think you're right, man. I think you're absolutely right.
For me, I'm willing to just look at it and go, what works, what doesn't work. And when you see something working, you got to push on it. And I think the other thing is you also have to have the ability to read what's going on. I know people don't want to always hear about numbers, but I read numbers just so I can go, this is working, this isn't working. I need to push harder this way.
Mm-hmm.
When I did my when I did the Nintendo Direct reaction video,
mm-hmm.
I saw an explosion starting.
Mm-hmm.
And I followed it up with, okay, I got to take this momentum, and I see Miss Click is my next interview on Nintendo Talk Live. I need to start pushing this week to build on this momentum, hit her. I do the contest, the giveaway. I take that, and I roll that into something else, and I go, okay, I could pick up, a couple hundred followers in this, but picking them up is not the ideal. The idea is show them why they're here.
Mm-hmm.
Get them wrapped in and going like, hey, I like what this guy's doing, and keep pushing forward. So it's an idea of always you want to – it's a tale of two things. You want to keep the blinders on, so you're staying focused on what you're doing. But at the same time, you have to be able to like look a little bit occasionally to go, this isn't working. I need to shift to this road.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically –
I have a weird out-of-the-box idea I want to throw at you before we close things out. I want to gamify this thing. I want to turn getting this information into a game that is ultimately shareable. It's a shareable experience. Okay, so let's say that tomorrow is new Nintendo Direct Day and it's a game. You go on your YouTube, or maybe it's Twitch. Maybe there's a Twitch partnership. Maybe you can do it from your Switch, and you get a certain currency. I just made this game up in my mind. Let's see how this plays out. Let's say you get like 10 points, and you can use these points to use on big news stories. You can use it on little news stories, or maybe go through you're faced with like 5 doors, and you're like, I'm gonna go through door number 3. Let's see what's behind door number 3, and it's a story about the new Pokemon thing. Holy crap! Is this trailer about Pokemon? But you've missed out on 4 other stories. Okay, and you got to keep going. Okay, you put together your story.
This is the Megadad story. This is the Megadad's timeline, and we're not in the Megadad's.
I like this. I like this.
They're into these. They're into these life simulators,
and then you share your version of what you got, and then everybody else shares the things that they got. I want that.
No. That is all. Thank you guys for listening to another episode of If We Ran Nintendo. Be sure to check out everything that Mr. Capri is doing over on the Twitters. Check him out, Sean Capri. Sean like
bad
Connery,
ideas.
Capri like the pants. Yeah, bad ideas put my mind
all day long.
But also check him out over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Sean Capri. Go over there, give him a follow, give him a sub, all that good stuff. Check him out. You can follow me, Instagram, Twitter, @Nintendo Gurus. That is all. Peace out, Preston.
What if you found like a Kirby game behind one of those doors? Then it's game over.
It's been game over for a little bit here, Sean.
I don't know why you do this with me.
I don't know why you bring it up.